I've just rolled in, mate.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel and a new video.
Seems ages, Rob, doesn't it?
It's actually been over 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've come back with this awful cold.
I'm going to keep me distance.
Yeah, and I didn't want to give it to Chris, and then I've turned up to work wearing a t-shirt and a gilet. I'm going to have to pop home and get a jumper. But our latest purchase, mate.
Nice looking car, nice colour, Rob.
I think it's a lovely looking car.
Yeah.
Everything about it looks really nice, doesn't it? And what a lovely colour. Almost a Lamborghini blue there, I think.
So we've started very positive there, haven't we?
We have started very positive.
But you better explain.
The car is a smacker.
Yeah.
It's previously been repaired. Actually, someone that watches our videos recommended us to their friend, and their friend got in touch with me and said, look, I originally bought this for my wife.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm pointing the camera at Chris, guys. I don't want to get too close to him. He bought it for his wife. He's had it repaired. Well, he's repaired it. And I mean, it looks like quite a good repair. A couple of little bits missing off it still. But it's broken down on them a couple of times.
Yeah.
The last bit was, he said she was driving it at night and the lights were flickering and everything was cutting on and cutting off. And he said, look, I don't care if it's an easy fix. I don't want the risk. I want the car gone.
You should have. They've had a couple of people try and fix it for them.
They've had someone try and fix it. Another guy look at it. They have punted this car around, and the best bid they got for it was like $4,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, we give
a bit more than that.
A bit more than that.
But I think still possibly a nice if it's a relatively simple fix. We've bought ourselves a headache.
We give $5,500 for this car. Let's just put it out there.
We've bought a headache.
We bought an headache.
Which might be an easy fix, but it might not. So,
but 1,500 quid more I offered. They was over the moon to take it.
Yeah.
He says, you know, he's got a big lump of his money back, but there is a problem with this car. It is completely flat. The battery's completely flat, and when I was having a walk around it, when the truck just arrived, do you want to walk in front of me, just so I don't get near you, mate? Sorry. I've noticed that's popped off, but that's probably something to do with
lot of polish residue on it, Rob.
That is a bit.
Lot of polish.
Which
is a bit strange, isn't it?
I thought, has it been like if they had a valeter out? But I would say, I think it's been in a body shop, Chris. It is literally got spin marks in it everywhere. Like literally everywhere, and then you can see it all. And here, look, it's got all like masking lines on it. So
yeah,
I think it's that front corner that's been repaired, and then it's had some paint work down this side.
Yeah,
because even though that paint looks a good match,
it does.
Yeah, it's definitely been repaired there, hasn't it? But yeah, mate, electrical gremlin.
I was just about to say, we're thinking electrical. So I suppose the first thing is, before we go anywhere, we need a decent battery on it.
I did tell the guy, can you chuck the battery on charge before the recovery guy turns up for it? He's had it on charge all night. I've put the key in it. It's completely flat. Like literally, it does.
Right.
It's doing nothing. And you've got no ignition lights whatsoever.
I mean, I know we've been told the story of it, but it's probably worth doing a bit of history check on this, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And seeing what the crack is.
Oh yeah, we'll find out.
MOT, etc, etc.
Yeah.
So, before we go too much further,
should we get a jump pack on it because the steering lock's on, and we'll push it in the workshop? I'm freezing, Chris.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Let's do that then. So it is nice to be back to work, but unfortunately, the first one that we get when we get back, we've got to push it in. Luckily, it is a nice little light car. There is no issues with any wheels or any suspension components on it, so it was quite easy to push in. Chucked the jump pack on, the steering lock come off nice and easy, but it did not start. So yes, we had to push it in, open the bonnet and start taking a look. You've got to have an element of trust in all industries, but I've never bought a car from this guy before, and hopefully it flourishes into something where I end up buying a few more, because he is in the trade. But of course, I run a check on it using Car Vertical. He did tell me that it had been repaired, and he actually bought it damaged and repaired it. So odometer all good, financial and legal all good, and damage there clearly highlighted. Let's click straight on the damage section. This vehicle was damaged. The vehicle was marked as an insurance write-off down here, and it was the 12th 22, so quite some time ago now. unknown, estimated repair cost, category S, structural damage, possible damage type unknown. We do know that it's had a small one in the front because he's actually told us. Also on the car vertical, you've got your odometer, financial and legal, damage, natural disasters, your market values, emissions, specs and equipment, and of course that handy timeline that I like to refer back to each time. So registered 0319, had a license plate change 0419, so had a private plate on it there at some point, private plate removed there, and then it was on sale on the 1st 2021. You get a gist of what I'm saying. You can go through here and you can see all of the ownership changes, when it was listed for sale, and if there is any problems, of course, like the damage detected there. I want to thank Car Vertical for the continued support on the channel. To benefit from a nice little discount off your check, you can use the code up on screen now from any browser, or if you hit the link in the description, it will automatically take you to Car Vertical and apply your nice little discount. Oh, I hate pushing cars.
Yeah.
Especially a car that new and you got to push it.
Never mind.
So you see we pushed it straight in there and then straight away.
Yeah.
First, go on mate, go ahead,
Battery's
sorry.
dead, we know, but both battery terminals loose, so that's not a good start, is it?
No.
But nevertheless, we know the battery's toast, so you're going to have to go and get a battery.
Yeah.
I've took the fuse box off. I am going to check the fuses, but I don't think it's going to be a fuse. A fuse is either blown or it's not blown, isn't it?
Yeah.
This sounds like an intermittent
Fault, yeah.
So we're going to have to probably just work our way through it, trying to find that. It's most likely going to be a broken wire, isn't it, somewhere?
Yeah.
The car's had accident damage, so we kind of think it's frontal because it looks like this bump has been painted.
And we notice that wire down there.
Yeah, there does look to be a bit of yellow tape wrapped around that is not wrapped around that crash sensor.
No, so
I guess once I'll look, see if I can find anything while you go and get a battery.
yeah, you've taken all the engine
I did.
cover
I
off
just
there.
thought, just in case there was something obvious loose underneath there. But if you can get us a good battery,
Yeah.
I think once we've put that on, we scan it
Yeah, definitely.
and we see what that says.
We've got a new scanner as well.
We have, so maybe you fire that up and you have a play with that.
Yeah.
I'll carry on looking, see if I find anything obvious till you get back with a battery.
All right, mate.
All right.
I'll go and get one. So it is just a case of, we don't know who's been here before. It is going to be checking through everything. We know this car's had a little tap in the front and it's been repaired. So is there something loose? Is there something that's chafing, like the two wires together? Is there an exposed wire? It's got to be something like that, because he said 1 minute it's fine, the next minute it's all the lights start flickering and it really starts playing up. So I guess Chris is just going to go through everything, go through the fuses while I go off and get a battery. Well, that's going to disappoint some of you, but the only second-hand brand new battery I could get is a Lion. And I know no one likes a Lion battery. Mate, what you found?
Well, as expected, Rob, all the fuses check out all right, but you've got to check them in case, haven't you?
Yeah.
In case there's a fault somewhere else, and that's caused the fuse to.
For sure.
So you never know, do you? But
do you want to
have a
take the
look.
camera, Chris? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I just don't want to.
So those earths there,
Oh, I can see them.
particularly green to me.
Yeah.
What's caused that on a quite a late car, I don't know, but I think we ought to whip them off and clean them up,
Yeah.
and then put the computer on it.
Yeah.
We know it's broken down, so there's going to be a fault, at least a fault, isn't there?
Yeah.
But see what it says.
We still
And
haven't
at
even
the
heard
very,
this run.
very least, clear the faults. Then we put the new battery on, and then we'll try and start it and see what new faults
Yeah.
come up. Because we know from previous experience, and we've explained it, when battery voltages drop below, components start flagging up as faults.
Yeah.
Because the voltage has dropped outside of their parameter. It's not the component, it's the battery voltage has dropped.
Sure.
So we're going to have to clear those and then crank it and see where we're at.
Yeah.
So but I'm
Also-
going to whip them off and clean them. I've got a bit of WD
I'll
there.
get the computer set up.
So-
Also, a lot of these new cars, you have to tell it it's had a new battery.
While you was gone as well, I thought that was quite interesting. Diagnostic,
Oh, really?
but it has got OBD as well, because it's a
I've not seen a diagnostic.
European-wide has to do. Manufacturers have to put OBD, but yeah, like the old Japanese, isn't it?
I'd like that.
Yeah,
That's the last thing I've seen with.
They have their bespoke own diagnostics, so
Unbelievable.
not relevant to what we're doing really. I just thought I'd point that out.
All right, mate. I'll let you get that.
Yeah, I'll get them
cleaned up. And
you better fire up that new
computer.
I don't even know what make it is.
Familiarise myself with it. It's called a Think something. I will put a link for it in the description if it's any good. But I'm going to be honest. A Thinkcar. Most of these now, they've all got the same software on them pretty much. So let's get this fired up. Give it a nice, sleek looking little thing, isn't it? Let's fire it up. I'll have to wait till Chris gets the battery on and we'll do some tests. Genuinely didn't want to bore all you guys with me just sitting here really familiarising myself with this computer, but do you know what, it turns out?
Very similar.
It is. They've all got pretty much the same software on them now. This little Thinkcar, nice sleek little thing. Not going to do an advert for it, but
no, it is what it is.
If you want to do your research, I believe it's quite reasonably priced. The software's all up to date and there'll be a link for it in the description. I can already see that there's quite a few codes coming up.
As expected.
As expected.
We don't know how many of them are related to battery voltage, but as we previously said, quite often, a lot of them will be. I should just add, I've took both of those 10 mils out, where those earth points were, that were a little bit green.
Yep.
And the actual sort of contact surfaces, perfectly, like brand new.
Oh, right,
it's only the bit that's exposed, so I don't think, and they were well tight, so I don't think, one, they've ever been undone, or that was anything related to the faults.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you're going to have to clear those down.
Right, Chris, we've got...
Do you want to just do it while we're...
Yeah, definitely.
Just keep recording?
Yeah, shall I read them out?
Yeah, well, some of them, but
you got
I suppose probably just delete them.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a new scan.
Clear DTCs.
They're, you know...
There was quite a lot there.
There was. You know...
one of them's come straight back.
Right.
Two's come straight back.
Right, we've got something to aim at then, haven't we?
Yeah. 3 of them's come back, SRS. It's funny because it hasn't got an air... Oh, no, it hasn't got an airbag light on the dash.
Right.
Engine control module, manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure circuit high input, anti-locking brake system, can signal error EMS. But I would think with ABS in particular, you've got to drive a car.
Yeah, quite
so obviously probably to clear that fault.
I'm kind of thinking then we've got to check wiring, because we know it's had previous, you know, it only needs a little broken wire underneath.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite, we're going to have to keep wiggling the wire, clearing the scanner, aren't we?
Yeah.
Re-scanning, see. I mean, now it's cleared, so you want to see if it starts, just in case.
So turn the ignition off, and then...
Just in case it's... No, right. Well, in a way, that is what we wanted.
16,560 miles.
But in a way, that's what we want it not to run, because we haven't found what... we want to definitively find what the fault is, don't we?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a case, Rob, of you're going to have to look at... We know it's a frontal impact. You probably see on that bit of time lapse, I was looking and checking all the plugs, but we've got a couple of targets now, haven't we?
Yeah. Let's get onto it then, mate.
I think so,
Let's do it.
So with that new battery on there, me in the car with the diagnostic tool, Chris under the bonnet, and it's just a case of I'm going to be looking at that diagnostic tool, looking at the ignition lights. He's going to be wiggling around a few of the wires. With 2 of you there, if this makes any difference when he wiggles a wire, hopefully we're going to find the issue and get this one resolved pretty quickly. But it looks like we are ready to clear down the codes and give it a go, see if it's made any difference.
Good news is now this car is a runner, but we was told when we bought this car, Rob, there's no problems with it. The engine runs. It is just intermittent, that the lights was playing up and that the battery keeps dying. But we have actually think we found the problem. Well, Chris has. Shall I start it up?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
Right. Chris, that's recording if you want to show, or do you want me to turn it off?
I mean, if you didn't see really too much what I was doing,
no, shall I turn it off though,
I could do. I mean, it doesn't need to be running, does it?
Let's
turn it off, Rob. Probably makes most sense.
Just in case it arcs something up, like...
Yeah, so literally all
make sure that camera can see, yeah, it can.
All I did was just this sort of, you know, which I'd kind of been over it while you was out getting the battery and couldn't see anything obvious, and I was looking for any like repairs on any bits of wire, and then I don't know how well you're going to see that.
Let me zoom in.
You see that?
One sec. Yeah, we're right on it. Go on. The main earth strap.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll tell you what. Let me tighten it now because there's no point. We found that loose.
Let me get you a 10
and
mil.
I moved it, and I had the 10 mil for tightening the battery terminals up. So let me just. What I'll get you to do. We don't want to. Yeah, right, that's tight now. If you just start the engine up.
What do you think?
You'll see that the engine, when it fires up, really jolts.
Right.
And hopefully that'll show on camera. Yeah. So, obviously that's moving all the time, especially on start, stop, start, stop. So, it's probably made and broke contact. And, but I guess it's clear the faults once again.
Clear the fault codes down.
And then just road test it.
Chris, look, I've been guilty of it before, where you just overlook something and you have to go back. But do you feel like someone's?
Well, yeah, but it might not even be that, Rob. Like I say, when that engine starts, I can't rock it, but
over time
it's doing that.
Loosened.
Yeah, is it a start-stop car?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's starting and stopping all the time. I mean, it's, it's.
Do you want to check that's not damaged inside that strap? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I just think it's I just think it was not quite tight enough.
Worked its way loose.
Yeah. I mean,
do you know what though?
Although the battery was flat, the battery terminals were not tight at all. I took them off by hand. You'll see it on time lapse. I just went like that and they came off. So,
yeah, I did notice the earth was loose.
Yeah, so you just don't know, do you? But you might take it on a road test, get a few miles and it cuts out again.
The other thing,
but
I'd
be reasonably confident that's it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't want to be guilty of waffling on too much here, but
no.
Put it in the comments, guys. What do you think? I'm looking at everything on that engine, all the bolts. They're all silver. Why is that bolt in that earth black?
That is a good point. Although that one's black, Rob.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
So
I'm barking up the wrong tree there.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, the thing is, we've been told a couple of people have looked at it, right? So we've just gone through it and we've touched stuff because we're trying to find a fault. So you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the previous person who's looked at this. Like unplugged things like we just have. So we don't really know, but coupled with low battery voltage and that, you ain't got a lot of chance, have you? Because that's flagged up, how many faults was it?
15.
So someone may have scanned it and gone, right, let's start working through those.
Yeah.
And it takes up a bit of a blind alley, really.
Shall I let you put the rest of that back together? I'll clear the codes and we'll take it for a drive.
Well, I think that's the most sensible thing, really.
Yeah.
Don't you? There's no point.
Yeah, let's do it. Hyundai Sakona. Never even heard of one until we bought one. Not something that I've actually ever looked at, but of course, you got to have a look at everything you get offered. If there's a profit involved and it's a nice little car that ain't going to stick around for too long, then of course you've got to have a look. So, just getting out onto the dual carriageway. And this car already has got an issue, I can tell. There isn't any problems with the electrics at the moment. But it has just come up there, tyre pressure monitoring. And I don't know if you can hear that. Let's just dip the clutch, one sec. This car's got a wheel bearing gone by the sound of it. Very, very whiny. I'm not sure which side it is or which one it's coming from. That does always help when there's two of you in the car, but because of this cold, I don't want Chris in the car with me at the moment. The steering wheel's off as well. And you can probably tell by that little bit of bouncing on the camera there, we're doing 50 and the balancing's off on this car. That noise could be a tyre, couldn't it? And it could be that tyre's out of shape and that's what's throwing off the balance as well. I'm not saying it's driving bad by any means, it's driving fine, but it's That's quite loud. Hopefully you can hear that on the camera as well. I'm on a dual carriageway where it is down to just 50 mile an hour, but let's whip it to A2 tyres, let them have a quick look at it, and we'll go. Quite straightforward on the old tracking, and he's done it already pretty much. It was just this one front wheel, but he's done all the balancing as well. And there was an issue with this front wheel where it had been balanced on the front and the back, and he said it was just counteracting, so it wasn't actually doing anything. So that's all been rectified now, and we've had a 4-wheel balance. So hopefully once it comes down off the ramp, we'll drive back to the yard. It should drive a lot better. I've also got him to go around and just check all of the tyres, and he said they are all well legal and they all seem fine. There's no flat spots in them or anything like that. So of course there is a good chance that this car is going to have a wheel bearing gone, which is not the end of the world. If that's the worst we've got to do is a wheel bearing after that nice easy fix Chris has done, we can live with that. Let's let them finish the job. Well, that's coming up pretty nice, and we're nearly there with it already. I did just point out to the guy at the car wash here, all of the G3 or the compound, whatever compound was used and was dotted around various parts of the car. That compound, when you don't wash it off or wipe it off, it does go rock hard. So hopefully he manages to get all of it off. But starting to come up really nice, that little car. We get it washed and head back to the yard. I've had no issues with driving it, and I've just spoke to the guy that I bought it off, and he said if it was going to play up, it would have happened by now, because it happened a lot. So it was definitely a nice easy little fix with the earth lead, and I did offer to sell him the car back, and he did not want it. Right, let's get it clean and get back to the yard. Without filming this video, I've actually forgot to mention, I must apologise for the streaming of my nose. It sounds like my nose is blocked up, so hopefully that was bearable. Chris, the little car cleaned up all right.
Didn't miss a beat on you?
Didn't miss a beat. The balancing definitely wanted doing. Someone had balanced that front wheel and counteracted it, they said, and it wasn't right. But
no.
Now it's absolutely bang on. It drives in a straight line, the steering wheel's in a straight line, but I think it's that one. It has got a noisy wheel bearing on it.
Yeah, I suppose that was the least of their problems with it keep cutting out.
It was.
They didn't worry about that.
I've spoke to the guy we bought it off. I've put that in the video as well, and I've told him that you've done that, and he said, oh, if there was an issue, I would have known about it by now. And I offered him the car back just as a bit of a gesture, and he said, no, Rob, crack on with it. So,
rightio.
The only things I have found is this window does not open.
Right.
From the driver's side or the passenger side, so that's done. That one won't open, so we've got a fuse or something's broke there.
Yeah.
It's going to need a wheel bearing on it, this near side front. I've just changed the wiper blade and I've had it valeted, but it does want going round with some panel white.
You've got all that polish off sort of thing, yeah. So,
but tidy little car, and I don't really know what else to add to this video. I'm going to need to do a couple of little bits to it in the background, run it a little bit, and then chuck it up for sale.
Yeah.
I have just looked on eBay. We said earlier what we paid for it, $5,500. I've just looked on eBay. There's one on there for $7,750, exactly the same colour.
That's a cheap car.
No, smashed up.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
Smashed up, category
right,
S.
Yeah.
So, what do you reckon on this one? After I've done all them little bits, it's going to owe us, let's say, $6,000, because I'm going to put a new MOT on it.
Well,
where do you want to be with it?
We're never greedy, are we? But I mean,
8,250?
Yeah, I was going to say like 8.5, Rob.
8,250, I reckon.
8,250.
Yeah. 8,250.
All the bits done on it.
That is just 500 quid dearer than what one is on there smashed up. To buy a straight one, they are 12 to 14 grand.
Well, we've done all right out
We've
of
done
it.
all right out of it.
It gives someone a cheap car, doesn't it?
I'm going to get all these little jobs done on it, and I think once soon as it's done, we'll chuck it on Instagram and find this one a new owner. Unfortunately, that is going to be the end of today's video. If you did enjoy it, of course, as usual, we'd appreciate that thumbs up. Don't forget, you can share it on all your social networking sites. And if you want to follow myself or Chris on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of the social networks, the links for those are in the description down below. We'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in the next one.